Hello and good evening, everyone out there. This is the lovely and beautiful retro queen, Miss KyokoCane of the Daystar Voyage, the hostess herself and the cosplaying hostess with the mostest. Here on this very channel where I talk about pretty much family entertainment and children's media affecting and livelihood, along with anime and animations and pop culture discussions and rants and topics and essays on this channel, with a little bit of hints of AMVs and skits along the way. And right about now, thank you so much for getting me to 100 subscribers. I'm so glad and thankful of it all. You know, after pretty much taking a long time break from just like posting long behind videos, I'm gonna try to get everything else that I want on this video. But yes, I'm so thankful of it all. Thank you so much. I can't say it enough. Now, let's get to the video at hand. This video I've been pretty much working on in my whole editing room slash like fabulous lab slash interior illusions lounge, where I do most of my effects and work. And also, may I say, this is going to be a great video because we're going to be discussing about a brand new show. I'm going to talk about this little animated cartoon which is called Stugo, which is out right now. This tells about 6 kids, middle schoolers to be exact, tricked by attending a fake academy summer camp by a mad scientist named Dr. Lula. Which people have been saying that she's like a mix between like Grunkle Stan and Ida, but I just say that that's for just like chasing like popular shows. But I say, in my opinion, she's like a mix between Miss Grokey and Miss Finster from Recess, with a hint of Ida in there. And with this whole cast so on going on crazy adventures with the mutants. And it consists of like the 6 characters pretty much is Pliny, Marina, Larry, and also Sarah, Francis, and Chip, in that order. I just want to let you know this is basically a show that's been pretty much premiered, I think, around last month to usher in the new Disney animation works, and has been absolutely garnered like a small base audience. And may I say, it's so good to like see one of those brand new shows that get pretty much put onto the map because of not being too story driven or too episodic, but it's like a much more of an episodic route because you can see so many characters just like in my other video about episodic shows being back, like having much more depth compared to story driven shows, to focus on the characters and the surroundings and the setting a lot more before it gets story driven, which I highly recommend you watching my other video of that essay and discussion. Be fleshed out a lot more and be able to be handled with much more care and discover their backgrounds, their in-depth of writing, and having to be able to just like discover their origins of how they became to be the persons that they are throughout the series run. Now that we're done with the intro, we're going to break down this video into 3 topics that I really much would like to pretty much just like get this show on the road, and let's pop the popcorn, unlock the topic with a key, and come sip some tea with me on this very topic. Now, when you first watch Stugo, you feel so way at home because of how easygoing and laid back it is due to its aesthetic. When you actually see the animation and also the backgrounds, you realize it's pretty much animated by a well-known cartoon animation company by the name of Titmouse Animation, which is also well known, been doing like a lot of great favorites such as Avatar The Last Airbender, a well known great children's and family favorite and cult classic, along with great shows like Kith, which is also a new one, and Ghost and Molly McGee. Also 2 favorites that I did discuss about, which is made by Disney, and Avatar being made by Nickelodeon, along with other favorites such as a really upcoming brand new one called Gentry Chow versus the Underworld, a Netflix series. And when you watch some of Titmouse content, you're in for a brand new treat, because you have got to admire the work that they put into like Stugo, along with classic favorites from the past and present and future of Titmouse. And it shows that the animation is just flawless due to like the environment, the backgrounds, the animation as a whole, along with, and it really much feels as if like you're in for a treat when you first watch Stugo because of how much dedication and work putting out great animated projects. And from the looks of Stugo, when I first watched Stugo, it felt like everything was right at home, to the point where like it was a really nice, cozy, comforting, and yet adventurous show, along with a lot of like episodic series. And once they pretty much get off the ground or get greenlit, they have to establish itself within like the series itself to be able to just like know what appeases the audience, from the adults to teenagers to kids and adolescents for that matter. And I feel like with Stugo, they did a really good job of just like picking up themselves off of the ground and having to be able to establish itself as a really great episodic show with so much lore and world building and backgrounds towards each and last character. And not to mention the fact the comedy is really great and out of this world. I just feel like Dr. Lula is like the scientist and stuff that I said previously is like a great mixture and has so much depth to her as a character. She's like a mix between like Miss Groki and Miss Finster mashing together along with Ida, and they did a fusion dance. And let me tell you now, she is just so great. Along with the rest of the cast of characters, like I said in my other previous intro, like the other characters feel so much fleshed out. You have like Pliny, who's also this pretty much upstarted, happy-go-lucky, courageous, enthusiastic character, willing to do whatever it takes to just like help out. Who's also willing to just help out her friends through any other obstacle and adversity along the way, outcome and whatnot. And you also have pretty much her neurotic second in command, who's also the Miss Goody Goody Two Shoes, the know-it-all, who has so many layers to herself, Miss Marina. Also, hilarious character. Also along with the ragtime gang of people, you also have Frances, who is also the laid-back, pretty much easygoing girl of the group with the French braids and the purple dress that she sports. She's kind of like a mix between like Magic School Bus's Keisha and also Daria. Like I just feel like her vibe is that for that matter, and she's just like going with the flow, and whatever outcome that she or any type of misadventure she gets along with her friends always come in her favor because she's always just so like easygoing, laid back, and also very spiritual for that matter. Then enters Sarah. Sarah is like pretty much the buff woman up girl of the group. She's basically like the real muscle of the group who's pretty much willing to just help out her friends. And Sarah is like the true muscle of the group because of how much she's like willing to just like go through like fire and whatnot, and she's always the loyal one because of how much she's going to just like be the muscle of the group compared to anybody else. And also there's another muscle of the group, which I like to pretty much call this person like the himbo basically, which I'm going to get to in a moment, and his name is Chip. Chip is like basically like this person who's willing to just like be the man of the group, but once you see like throughout the whole run of the show, he's basically like the himbo / bumbling dad of the family, of the whole cast of the group, because he wants to do so much for the kids in general, because he's like the oldest one, I feel. And it's just like you see so many of his layers just like be able to just like peel off, because he's just like a himbo who wants to look out for his friends more, along with Sarah. And also coming to that, you see like Larry. Larry is also one of my favorite characters, along with like I feel Francis, because Larry, the one with the swimming trunks, is like the most inquisitive, the youngest of the bunch, because he's so inquisitive, so intuitive, willing to just like know a lot that people don't know, and just have a sixth sense, like basically has a sixth sense for like sort of things, and very like talented when it comes to like the artistic part of the group basically. And pretty much that's all the characters throughout. If I haven't gotten any of them, just let me know around in the comments. But yes, this show is pretty much so lit with its animation. And now that we got down to that first segment, we're gonna get down to the second segment. It was like the animation being great and how it can afford itself another season if we give it a chance. And just like my other episodic show topic video that I did discuss, which I also worked hard on, I hope y'all watch that one too, because there's still this ongoing notion of how episodic shows don't carry on, or not as popular as story-driven shows in like Disney's work, because of how much people want to feel the need for like something to be much more highly anticipated or hold it up to a high pedestal, being able to just like have that nostalgia aspect of wanting the next Gravity Falls or the next The Owl House, or having the next big fat dang Steven Universe or She-Ra, etc. And I do feel like that's a problem too also, which I discussed about my previous video that I did about episodic shows coming back. And now we're gonna get down to the part 2 of this video. It's about the animation, the episodic aspect, and also how the characters grow throughout the whole show, and each episode giving them much more personality and depth and nuance to their characters. Here we go. I do feel like why Stugo stands out is because of the fact that it's made by people who are willing to just take a chance and just like be much more, have a laid back atmosphere when it comes down to like shows like this. You have like 6 kids who are willing to just like do whatever it takes while surviving on an island full of mutants, along with like a mad scientist who's willing to just like look out for only her own agenda, and it's up to like these kids to be able to just like overthrow her authority to an extent, just better themselves. And having Dr. Lula have a change of heart along the way to help them out or give them hits to better themselves, and not all things can be set up with like brains for that matter. And sometimes you have to have a fighter's flight mentality to be able to just like survive in that type of atmosphere, along with the many obstacles throughout each episode and misadventures that they go out on, and having to be able to just like be able to better better themselves throughout the show's run, and also have to prove to Dr. Luna that they can be able to be great assistants and also accommodants, along with battling mutants and monsters along the way to be able to prove to Dr. Luna. Which I feel is a great message to kids, so that be able to show that you can overcome anything as long as you don't give up and have that fighter spirit within you. But yeah, and I just feel like it does a good job of just like teaching kids of how to never give up and have like a good runaround and obstacle to prevail in certain hardships and times, just like with like another great Disney show like Milo's Murphy's Law. Amazing show by Phineas and Ferb creator, which tells about the boy who's also cursed, who has to deal with bad luck, but he never gives up. But with like Stugo, it's just like you have to be able to just like deal with like mutants coming about you and monsters coming at you from every direction, which also puts everything at stake when they like Pliny and the gang and all with Dr. Luna if she ever mishaps with them. And I do feel like it gets so much like depth and nuance once they figure out that not everything can be solved like what they already know throughout real life. And from like before coming to the island, I do feel like they had to be able to just like be much more inquisitive and much more intuitive when it comes down to just like breaking all the rules, not to the point where like it teaches a good lesson towards like adolescents and adults who are viewing this. And sometimes you have to put up like your fisticuffs to be able to just like deal with certain aspects of that for that matter, like surviving with monsters and mutants on an island, and that's what the whole cast had to deal with. But to people who are willing to just like take a chance of learning something new along the way, and I feel that goes along with the rest of the cast of characters, along with like the viewers too. Also, there's an awesome video down below made by Alpha J Show, who did a review about Stugo, amazing channel, if you want to go much more in deep dive towards the show itself in simple terms. And now we're going to come to the conclusion of this video, and my final part of the video is why I decided to make this is because it's because of the fact that pretty much basically people's jobs on the line. And due to what's happening in like California right now, that's for another topic for another video. I just feel like it could come a long, great way if we do our best to support other productions who are willing to just like give stuff a chance, so the viewers and fans alike. It just feels like a breath of fresh air to have a show like Stugo, or kind of like similar to like The Ghost of Molly McGee, which is also one of my favorites, along with Amphibia, which is a episodic show turned story driven ever since throughout its run, which did it so much fluently and episodically well. And it just feels like as if like the representation is like something to do with that too, but that's for another discussion also too, for that matter, when I get down to it. And I feel very thankful to just like get this along the way down on my thoughts and my opinions about it, because Stugo has so much potential, along with like many other great shows that are pretty much distributed throughout that are brand new, that we should be able to get a chance to do that and show much more love, because like I said, it's like people's jobs on the line along with that, and also wants to do it for the love and not for like the extreme fame or for the fandom at all, because we all know how that turns out. But that's all I got to say. I hope everyone else have a wonderful evening. Enjoy yourself. And let me get down to the editing of this video and let me get well, because my throat is pretty much just killing with me right now and I'm sick. And I hope you have a wonderful evening. Stay safe, superstars. Drink plenty of water and fluids, and also eat healthy and right. Adolescents and kids and adults out there and crowd and superstars. And make sure you shine brighter than the diamond. Take care of yourself and see you next voyage.